we looked at the picture, like literally up to last night we looked at the picture.
Okay. It is 1:20 p.m. It is Tuesday, April 27th, and I am sitting here with Kerianne Berry, the daughter of Calvin Berry. Kerianne, make sure I got the correct spelling. It's Keri?
Anne.
Okay. Do you have a middle name?
Yes, Jennifer, but
okay.
I don't go by it.
Okay, I'll just use J then. Okay. And you still use Berry?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And I have your address. But we've already discussed that there are people that you don't want to know where you live, so we're going to leave it as the Fallon address where you
Correct.
used to live with your parents. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. What is your phone number?
786-320-1055.
Okay. And your date of birth, hon?
February 4th, 1986.
Okay. And how long have you lived at this location?
Closed February 26th, so this is April. The ending of April will be 2 months.
Okay. Now, what is this? I heard somebody say that Mom and Dad didn't even know you were building a house.
No, Dad didn't know until I closed.
Okay, how come?
He knew I was in the process, but not that I was building. Mom always knew from the initiation. The reason why he didn't know, he knew I was moving, just not like when or, however, because he always said that if I moved out again, that I wouldn't be able to move back in. So, and then like with my closing, it kept getting pushed back, so I didn't want to say nothing till it was definite.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Would he have given you a hard time?
Hard time if let's say my closing fell through and I wasn't able to get the home, then yes. If I said, oh yeah, I'm moving out and I had all my stuff gone, and then yes, because he always said if I moved out, I wouldn't be able to move back in.
How many times have you moved out and moved back in?
But, so,
of their
up
house
here, maybe 3 times, but they're not all, they're not because of me. Like, I had a roommate, my son's father, like, situations like that. So it's not because of me.
No, so not because of a mom and dad relationship, just life.
Life, right. Okay.
Okay. All right. So how long did you live over on Fallon?
So it's been back and forth, but I moved in 2007. April 27, 2007. From Miami.
So how old would you have been?
Oh, God.
21?
Sure.
21? Okay, well, I'm trying to do the math in my head. 1986, so that's 14. 14 and 7 is 21. So you were 21 years old. And then how long did you live there? I mean, when you moved out, you would move out for how long?
So the first time I moved out was at Wells Fargo. So I was working at Wells Fargo in 2008. So I would say I moved out maybe in 2010, maybe. Then I moved back because my roommate lost her job. And
so you moved back in when?
Probably like a month after that. The year could be off, but yeah, because my roommate lost her job.
Okay, so you were gone less than a year.
No, I said 2000. Oh, that's the year.
I thought you said you moved out in 2010 because your roommate.
The year would be off. So I was at Wells Fargo 2008. So it could be 2010, could be 2009, somewhere around that time. I know I was at Wells Fargo. My roommate lost her job. I would say 2 years at that point.
Okay.
Then I moved to the Sanctuary, and I was still at Wells Fargo.
And when was that?
So, could be 2011.
Okay, so you were only home for a little bit.
Right, that's what I'm saying, it's back and forth. Then I had my kid, and then issues with my baby father, so I moved back in 2014, and then this move right here. I know I moved back January.
So you
2014.
actually in 2014. So you've been there for the last 7 years before moving out.
Oh wow, yeah. Because my dad used to always say, "You told me it would be 6 months," and it's turned out Julian is now. That's my son's name.
So how How was your relationship with Dad? I mean, it sounds like he wouldn't hesitate to say, you move out, you're staying out. I mean, he wouldn't hesitate. But how was your relationship with him? How?
We butted heads a lot. Our personalities are two alphas, pretty much.
Okay.
But I knew to keep my mouth shut. But we butted heads a lot.
About what?
Pretty much, like what he wanted for me wasn't what I wanted. And he's very strict. And so pretty much, but we butted heads all the time. And like I'm closer with my mom. And I wouldn't say that he was jealous, but he wanted my mom's relationship or my mom's attention for him and not for us. Like he wanted my mom all to himself. And, you know, moms are always like to their children, or you know, and so like.
So when you butted heads, though, I mean, what was it like? Yelling? Were the neighbors calling because of noise? Did it ever get physical? Dad ever hit you?
No. In Miami, he hit me like one time, but that was because I was rude.
And what kind of hit?
Just like a slap in my mouth.
Okay.
But just one time. It was, I wouldn't say I was rude, but my mouth.
What we consider rude and what our parents consider rude.
Exactly.
Okay.
But basically, you don't pay bills in here. I was a kid, and I wanted privacy, and
he wasn't gonna give it.
Yeah.
All right. So the butting of the heads never turned physical. So how loud would it get? I mean, was it yelling? Was it what? Tell me about a butting of the heads.
So he himself carries a loud tone of voice. Because I moved, you know, multiple times, he always held that over my head. So I knew, like he would say, but if we ever, and this would be like my last move back in with me having my son, he would always say if we ever got into it or whatever, that, you know, I would be back out on the streets or whatever. So I had that always in my head. So it wouldn't get to be like where I would get loud because I'm mindful, you know, whatever. But we always had disagreements, but loud or anything like that, no. But his voice itself, you know, is manly, you know. But yelling or nothing, you know.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Did you hate your father?
Hate him, no.
What would you call it?
Just like, I wouldn't say misunderstanding, but just we didn't get along with a lot of stuff. You know, he's very strict. His beliefs is not my beliefs, you know, different things like that. I would say more so that he wasn't, like, open, I would say. Like, you know, he has his set of ways, and it's pretty much his way or the highway. Whereas, you know, trying to understand where I'm coming from, you know, like that. But hate him, no. I mean, my mom called, told me he was missing, and I was on the first way out there to go look for, you know, so absolutely not. Whenever he needed help, I was always there.
Okay.
Hate would say I'm not there at all to, you know.
Right. Okay. So, you didn't hate Dad. You didn't have a super close relationship. But you said he wasn't open.
Right. Like, you know, like let's say I like the color, well, I love the color pink, but he loves the color green. If we had like an argument or a discussion about like which color is better, he wouldn't want to hear my reasoning for why I like pink. No, you better like green, or that's it. You know, stuff like that. Like, he didn't want to hear another side. It's what he says or nothing at all.
So would you call him mean? What word would you use?
Stubborn.
Okay.
Like, he's set in his ways and that's it.
Okay. Did you ever not go to the house because of your dad?
Oh, yeah. Because I'm not a confrontational person. So, yeah, lots of times.
Okay. What about holidays?
Holidays, I live there, so I'm always there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You bought Dad's shoes. Do you remember what size shoes you bought him?
He's a size 9, I want to say. Yeah, I want to say he's a size 9, and my brother stole them.
I heard.
And it actually, well, I paid for it, but my son picked it out. But yeah.
And what did your son pick out?
Adidas for him. And the day that my father went, you know, like we put him in the mausoleum. Mm-hmm. I think that's what it's called.
Crypt, in
the wall.
Whatever,
yeah. My brother, he took it the same day he passed. Or went in the mausoleum, I should say.
How do you get along with your brother?
Huh?
How do you get along with your brother?
Before this incident, great. But, you know, he flip-flopped, I guess, but for this, we were great.
Okay. How often would you guys say you got together as a family over at Mom and Dad's?
Counting my brother, or...
Yeah. Or just you girls, since you guys are up here.
All of I lived there, so there's not a way for me to get away for anything. I was always there. My sister came over every Friday and Saturday. Holidays always spent together, but I was always there. I never really went out.
How'd Mom and Dad get along?
Like a regular married couple, but they got along.
Lots of fights?
No. Just when it came over me or the kids in general.
And again, how would the fights be?
Not necessarily argument, but just talking here. Not necessarily talking, but disagreement here and there. But basically over her siding with my side or siding with his. I would be frustrated because she sided with him, or he's upset that she sided with the children, like my sister and myself. Like that. But it didn't last long.
Okay. You said they didn't last long?
Uh-uh.
Now, you lived there, right?
Uh-huh.
Did Mom and Dad have separate bedrooms?
Separate bedrooms? No. My sister moved out. So, if they had an altercation, an argument or a disagreement, my mom would go to my sister's room and stay there. And then she would, go back to my parents, to their room. But separate bedrooms, no. It was my sister's old room. And then the other room was my grandmother's room, and then the other room was my other sister, the disabled woman's room.
What else? I mean, was that the only time Mom would sleep over there?
Or if my dad told her she snored too loud. If he had a long day at work, or he just needed to get some rest, especially this last couple of months, he had issues with sleeping. And so my mom would kind of, since he said she snored too loud, she would kind of go over there until he fell asleep to help him try to get some rest,
That's right, you were there those last couple of months.
Except for March.
Okay. All right. So Mom would actually go to the spare bedroom until he went to sleep, and then she'd go crawl in bed with him?
Mm-hmm. But sometimes he couldn't go to sleep. He would tell her, come back. I can't fall asleep. He was, those last couple of months, he was extra clean.
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. Or he'll get up and come lay with her,
Is Dad really losing that much sleep?
Mm-hmm. Me personally, I have sleep apnea, so I don't sleep at night. And I would just hear him in the kitchen, or yeah. And he'll be up to go to work. I think he used to be up, because I know we got up for my son and I around 5:45. So I want to say he'll be up around 6, maybe 6:30. I can't tell you the exact time, but I know after 6. And I know I used to hear him 2, 3 in the morning. So yeah, he wasn't, because I know I didn't get sleep, so he wasn't getting enough sleep. Except for the times he would doze off during the TV shows or whatever, but he'll be right back up. And then you'll hear him say, oh, I ain't getting enough sleep, but...
What, I mean, that's, so he would doze in front of the TV, but you would hear him prowling all hours of the night. Okay. Now, would you be awake all night long, or just...
Me personally, I would fall asleep maybe 9, 10 o'clock, and then I'll be up around 11, 12, 1 o'clock, and then I'll be up the whole night, like that.
So you'd go to sleep at 9, 10 o'clock, and then you'd wake back up at what time?
1, 12, 2, random times. I'll just fall asleep, and then I'll wake back up, and then I'll be up.
Then you're up for the night.
Yeah.
And that's
maybe fall
Did you ever
back
go out and
asleep.
talk to Dad when he was prowling? Okay. Did you ever hear him go outside when he was prowling?
Never. It's dark. What are you gonna do? Yeah, because he'll just be like in the kitchen and then go back in his bedroom, or he'll be in the living room and watch TV, because that's usually what his routine was even before this sleep issue, would be to stay outside in the living room and watch TV till about 11, 12 o'clock, and then he'll then go to the bedroom and go to sleep. That was his usual routine. And even then, he would fall asleep watching TV, watching the news normally is what he liked to watch, 11 o'clock news, and then go to bed. So it's like you didn't think nothing of it, you know? And he always wanted to be the last person to fall asleep. Sometimes it'll be like, I always felt like he's waiting for me to fall asleep, so I would just turn off my bedroom light and turn off my TV and act like I'm sleeping, because then like maybe like 30 minutes later, I'll see the living room light turn off, kitchen light turn off, and then he'll be in his room. So I would just do that just to kind of play my mind games so that he...
I wonder why.
Why what?
Why he wanted to be the last person to go to sleep?
Because he was like, he felt like he had to be the protector. Well, he's the man of the house, you know, but
Okay.
yeah, he had to be that person, you know?
Okay.
Because even if we ever went out of the house, he stayed, like, if we went out, let's say to dinner or whatever, he stayed in the living room until we came home, and then he turned off all the lights and then went to bed. But that was always his thing to, you know, he had to be the person to be the last one up, you know, that was him.
If you were late getting home, what would happen?
100 phone calls. And always he would tell us, nobody stay out later than me.
Now, the backyard. I know that Dad liked, he liked to tool around with the gardening and his little vegetables and his fruits. There were plantings. I mean, what was back there? When was Dad on the other side of that fence?
I couldn't tell you. I don't go outside. My son would be able to tell you better than me, because that was their thing to always go outside. I believe outside of the gate would have been sugarcane, I believe, but I know he planted outside of that gate, like along the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe it's sugarcane, but I couldn't tell you. I'm like my mom. We stayed in the house. We didn't mess with the backyard. But just the same thing, like in Miami, we lived right behind the canal, same setup, and he had, you know, planting just the same way.
So in Miami, you guys lived on a canal.
Same setup. Well, not really the same setup. The canal was right there, but we were, like, you had the canal, then there was houses, and then our house. So, like, a block before us.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. And Dad never swam.
That's what they tell me. I remember him. We had a above ground pool, but it was circular, and he swam like, it's not a lot of distance, you know. It was an above ground pool, and I remember him going under the water growing up. But this was us as children, so I mean, like, but I remember him. But that's what they tell me. He never, like, I know he could have not really necessarily took care of himself, but we had like a circular above ground pool, so it wasn't big.
How deep?
I don't know, but I mean, I know that like a 6 feet person, it would be covered. You would have to ask my mom how deep it was, but we had an above ground pool, and I know he went underneath it, and he would swim across from here to here, but it wasn't like a big old pool, you know?
Right.
It was circular, so I mean, he probably couldn't save himself, you know, if he went swimming, but I know he handled himself in our pool. But it wasn't a large pool.
Okay. So maybe not a swimmer, but he would get in the pool with you.
Right.
Okay. Okay. All right. So What about the ocean? Did you guys ever go to the ocean?
Mm-mm. I know he went to the beach. I don't know. I wasn't there with him when he went to the beach. He had family. I don't even know from where. I want to say probably the people from Clearwater or Tampa. They came to visit. It may not even be them. I wasn't here. I was at work. But I know he took them to Bathtub Beach. I couldn't tell you. I don't know if he went into the water with them. I don't know because I wasn't there. But I know he took them to Bathtub Beach. Because I know he asked me. This is when I worked at Wells Fargo, so this was between 2008 and 2013. But I know he asked me which water, like which beach is like the best beach or whatever for people to get in, and I told him it was like low tides, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't tell you if he went in the water. I wasn't there.
He just took them.
Right.
Okay. All right.
And I know he's been fishing before, but I think that was done over the pier in Naples, I want to say. That would be my mom who could tell you because she went with him to that trip.
So he didn't get in. He was just... Did Dad ever talk about his brother that drowned?
Yes, when I was younger. So I couldn't tell you. It's not something that he talked about all the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did it bother him?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay, because I've had those tell me that he was deathly afraid of water.
Yeah, like I know he doesn't swim like that, but I couldn't tell you. I know because it's not a conversation that he has, like he had with us all the time. I heard this story more so from his mom than I heard from him. But then again, I didn't question him too much about it either. But he,
right.
He told me when he was younger. I didn't want to pursue it because, it's a trauma.
So he was scared of water. Wasn't your avid swimmer.
Mm-hmm. But I do remember us in the pool and he swam to me on a side, it was family time, and he spent time in the water with us. It wasn't nothing that would be like traumatized, you couldn't really get hurt. Well, I mean,
you could stand up.
Right, but I know they say you could drown in a bathtub, so.
Yeah.
But I mean, we were
so scared of water, not your avid swimmer, but as far as getting into a pool with his kids, he did that.
He did, yeah, because he even would help my sister, the disabled one, and he held her in the tub, in the pool. Yeah. I will say he let our pool go to, get destroyed, because, leaves started, plants and everything, he could care less, he wanted to get rid of, I will say that, so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he wouldn't take care of it.
I mean, it kind of boiled down to us. I mean, he said it was our responsibility because we were kids. But yeah.
Do you remember him getting into it often, or do you just remember?
I know he got into it quite a few times, yes, but it was mainly us. I was 10 or, I can't remember much of it. But yeah, but I know that it got we would be in it more because he was always cutting the grass and stuff like that. I remember that, yeah. But I remember him playing the ball with the balls with us. We had I think a volleyball net in there, different things. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. But was it a pool that was deep enough you couldn't stand in it?
Well, I couldn't because I was a child. But he stood in it. Yeah.
So he had no issues.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was not over his head.
Mm-mm. It was above ground, little. It wasn't big. Yeah, it was circular, and it wasn't big.
Was it as big as this room?
No. It was small.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's this room? 12 by 12, 10 by 10?
I couldn't tell you. But it was circular. It probably could be right here.
Like the rug, maybe?
Right, yeah.
Okay. So definitely less than 10 feet wide.
Right, because he had a shed in the backyard. He had all his trees in the backyard. We had space. He had a, screened-in patio. We had all of that. So he had space. We had a suite, not a suite set.
So this is going to be, 8 feet by 6 feet? The rug?
Yeah, it could be, yeah. I think 5 by 7, if I'm not mistaken.
That sound right?
Yeah, I believe
The rug?
Yeah.
Okay. And you think it was about as big as this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But it was circular.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's see here. The night that Dad went missing, what time was Mom able to get a hold of you?
Could I tell you exactly? I want to say maybe before 2.
Okay. Who was there when you got there?
Her and 3 cop cars. I want to say 3. It was an older police, a lady, and a younger policeman. 2 male police, yeah.
And it was just Mom still?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And they were outside. 2 were in the garage, and 1 was by her, by the truck.
Okay. What'd she say when you got there?
I think she just said hi. I think that's all she said. And she was just like... I think that's all she said was hi. And then I asked her, did they search the backyard? Because I remember mainly dealing with the gentleman. I think he said that he was like the one on charge at the time.
Okay. And what did he say? Did he answer you?
Right, because she was mainly just like, out of it. So I believe I was doing, and he was like, yeah, we searched. And I said, did you guys, because I kept under the impression that maybe he could be underneath the tree sleeping. And I said, can I go back there? And he kept telling me, no, we have dogs going to come out. Mm-hmm. And I kept saying, and he said, we don't want to track it, lose his scent or something like that.
I'll explain that, okay? When they run canine, we have to stay in our cars.
Okay.
Yeah, so it has nothing to do with you being a civilian and me being a cop.
Yeah.
When they put a dog on the ground, they want Dad's scent. If I would cross across Dad's scent, the dog could go up and go, boop, new smell, and take a left. Yeah. So that's why it's not necessarily anything other than we just want to leave the environment the way it is, and that way the dogs can do their job.
Yeah.
Make sense? Okay.
Because I remember I know I asked her what all has been done, where they went, whatever. And I know she told me, yes, they went back there. And I said, and I asked her, I was just pretty much asking her, what have they done, where they went. And then I asked if I could, because my son was with me as well. It was drizzling too, but I wanted to go in the house. They told me we don't want to have too much movement, like that. Mm-hmm. But I kept asking, can I? Did you guys look? Can I turn on my flashlight? And I kept asking, can I go back there? I don't think I asked about the canal. I was more so saying he's underneath a bush sleeping, because my mom said he took his the medication. So I said, and they told me too that nothing more than he could have just passed out somewhere. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, check underneath the bush. If you guys said that the side door was sleeping, check underneath one of his plants. Mm-hmm. And I said, can I? And I kept asking, can I go back there? And they said no. And I just, we left it at that.
Well, you understand why though.
Right, I understand why, yeah. I just know I was persistent and pushing, and I know I was annoying, but I was just like, he has to be sleeping back there, because the garage door was closed. I wasn't, and that's what they said, the side door. So I was like, okay, boom, backyard. Mm-hmm. But they said they already checked it, they already combed this. I was like, okay, cool. They said they were waiting for the dog. I sent the text I have a WhatsApp women's group. It's just pretty much my girlfriends or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I sent the text message to them, and I just said, ladies, please pray, my dad is missing. Please pray and help us, for us to find him. And one of my friends, she reached out to me and asked what was going on, and I told her. Next thing you know, I get a phone call from Brother Patrick, and apparently he questioned me about it, my dad's situation, and I told him what was going on. What happened was, one of my girlfriends in that group, her mom is not sisters with him, but their family is close, so they say brother, sister, mm-hmm. that. So, and she knew that my dad and him like brother, but not. So mm-hmm. she called and told him, because she knew how close he was. Okay. And he just said, all right, I'm on my way. And came, and so that's how, so he was there. And then I called my aunt, my mom's sister, and told her, did mommy tell you what's up? You need to call, because like I said, my aunt is there for my aunt no matter what. And my aunt was like, she didn't even tell me he was having problems, And I was like, what? because my mom is stuck. You know, she had to do with these on her. You know, so my aunt called her. I was on the phone with her. But, you know, I made those phone calls. Well, one phone call. No, yeah, one phone call. The other one came to me.
And then your aunt turned around and called Mom.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
And I know my mom turned around and called Dornette to tell her what was going on. And I think that's the only conversation she had with Dornette up until now. Because Dornette's never reached out to her.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. So we're making phone calls. We're sitting in the driveway. The guys are kind of minimizing your guys' movement. They don't want to mess with the canines. They want to give the canines a chance. What happens next? Who shows up next?
The canines come or... Oh, so Mommy never got in contact with my sister. She said she's been calling me and my sister. Like, when Mommy called me, she told me that he was missing. And I was like, you know, I questioned her about missing how. Like, what you mean, miss, you know?
Right.
And then she told me the situation. And she had me speak to it. Like, a police officer got on the phone and he was like, we came knocking on your door, da-da-da-da. And I told him, like, I snore, you know, like, I sleep, you know, like, when I sleep. I didn't hear nothing, but he said he came, they even searched my yard, all that stuff, because Mommy told them maybe he could have came walking to your house, whatever, right. And I was like, that's dumb, that's a long walk, but okay.
Hey, you never know.
Right, I know you're ruling out possibilities.
Right.
So, like, I woke my kid up, because at this time we didn't have any furniture, we were just on a mattress on the floor, so he's right beside me, I woke him up, we got dressed, came right over, so we're driving.
How old is he?
How old is he? Now he's 8. He just turned 8 in April.
Okay.
Oh, well, this month. So we're driving, looking for him. He's looking on the right side. I'm looking on the left side just to see if we see him walking, whatever. Mommy said she couldn't get in contact with Christine. So since we got there, after I got off the phone with Patrick and my aunt, calling my sister, steady, calling her, still not getting her either.
What happened with that? Do you know why?
Sleeping more than likely, but I know she keeps her phone on silent. So I know, but more than likely she was sleeping. I couldn't tell you. I think she probably called us back maybe like 5 or 6. But I know as soon as because I think she called me first instead of Mommy. And then she was like, same thing I said, what you mean missing? And as soon as she heard, whoop, came straight over.
So now Christine's at the house.
Exactly.
Okay.
This is after... Did she come after the dogs? I think she came after the dogs left. Yeah, or did she? Because I'm terrified of dogs, so I know I stayed in my car when they were searching. My son, Patrick, and Mommy was outside. Yeah, so she came after the dogs left.
Okay.
Because the dogs walked up on them. No, my son was with me in the car. And it was Patrick and Mommy because the dogs walked up on them. The son was with me in my car.
What's your son's name?
Julian. And so she came after the dogs left, but the police was still there, I believe. And so same thing, asked them what all's been done. I remember there was a lady caught there, and they she questioned, like my mom's relationship with my dad. Asked like the same thing, if they had any fights, whatever, which we understand why the question or whatever. And then first thing we did, my sister and we went outside and got into my sister's car. My kid was with us. He was sleeping in the back seat and just started driving down the block doing all the screaming like, Dad, Calvin, just calling different things he would probably answer to. Screaming down the streets. We drove. We did what the police, what they said the dogs tracked them. Then we went right on Thornhill. Rolled it around till we came back to Fallon. And then we did left on Thornhill saying maybe the dogs got it wrong. But... the whole way just kept, and then we even ended up on Oroso, Whitmore, just...
Once K9 left, did you go to the backyard?
No.
Never did?
I don't, it was, it's dark, but like I said, I never went back there. I trusted them at their word and left it at that.
Okay.
I went to the backyard when the guy came, when the lady said that she told my sister that she heard his voice. And when my sister told me that there's a lady back there saying that she heard him, and she was talking to the police guy, that's when I went back there to kind of try to overhear what they were saying. And that's when the guy police said, don't put too much, into that. And this was before he was found But that's the only time I went back there.
And how far back did you go?
Right. As soon as you go to the back, right there I stayed because the lady was talking to the guy police officer at that time.
Now, the backyard is fenced.
Correct.
Okay.
But we were on the...
How do you get to the bank?
He has a... How did we get there, or how would anybody get there?
How would anybody get to the bank?
So how we got there when the lady was talking to us is between the two, between our house and the neighbor's house.
Okay, so you didn't walk through the backyard, you went between the houses.
Right.
Okay.
Now, my dad himself, on his fence in the backyard, there's a door to open the fence in the middle of the, in the back. Mm-hmm. But how we went was between the two houses.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, and about that time is when I showed up.
No, you came after.
Right, I'm saying, did anything else happen after that, I guess?
I never saw when you came. Mm-hmm. I think you only dealt with Christine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never saw when you came. I want to say, I couldn't tell you when you came.
I was there around 9:30, 10 o'clock.
I don't know. I think he was there for maybe because I know he went into the yard, into the forest across the street. And he was there with some guys from my dad's church. He was there with my sister. I never saw when you pulled up.
Okay.
So I couldn't tell you.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Okay.
Because I know I was on the road driving, trying to find,
So, how was Michael? I know you girls butted heads with Dad, okay? Because he had this way of how he wanted you to be. And you girls wanted to be your own person.
Right.
How was Michael's relationship?
So, Michael didn't have a relationship with my dad until his first child was born. His wife came in the picture and pushed for a relationship. And then that's when my brother developed a relationship with my dad.
So how long ago would that been? How old's his son?
I think his son is 13. I think his son is 13. Might even be 14. But because they got... him and his wife got married. Yeah, him and his wife is 13 years married. So his son is 14. So, because I know the baby was born when they were... the baby had to be at least 1 when they got married. But even at their wedding, they weren't a type... My dad always been strict. And my brother didn't grow up in, because he's not my mom's son. So he didn't grow up with us. But we were always raised around him because, he lived in Miami. We're in the church scene. My dad was a deacon at one church. And then my brother's family, all church, his grandfather's a pastor, uncle a pastor, so the churches always interact with each other, so we always saw my brother in Miami. So and then if we took family trips on my dad's side to reunions or whatever, my brother came with us, so we were always around my brother, so to speak. But they didn't have a relationship until his first son was born, and that's because of his wife pushing or fighting for that relationship. My dad more so had a relationship with the wife, not with my brother. I know that my sister sent the message to my brother for him to check on my dad when my dad, during these last couple of months, and instead of my brother checking on him, he just told my sister he spoke to him recently and he seemed okay. Where if you ask anybody when last they spoke to him, they would tell you that something was wrong with him. He's been off. He's not himself. And instead of my brother checking on my dad, he just said, oh, he was okay. I talked to him. And I know the last conversation that my dad had with my brother was asking him about the truck. He wanted to buy a truck, or he was asking him to look for trucks for him or something, So it wasn't necessarily a conversation that they had about my dad's well-being. I know a lot of the conversations that my brother had with my dad, it was more so, what can you do for me? My dad called to check on him, and my brother, it was more so this is what I'm doing with myself. How can you, help me with this? Where my dad always called to check on the grandkids, called to do this, it was more so my dad have a relationship with Rosa, with my brother's wife. He didn't have a relationship, so to speak.
Tell me about your dad's behavior.
When?
The last few months that you lived at the house. What were the changes you noticed?
Extra clingy.
What do you mean clingy? What would be extra clingy compared to what he used to be?
What he used to be was more so independent, and the way how he was the last few months, like you go to one room, or even if you go to the kitchen and you leave him somewhere, like in another room, 2 seconds later you see him right up on you. And it's like, well, dang, can I breathe? You know, like that. Like he was just following you, like that. He wanted to always like spend more time. Usually he's always on his phone, wanting to talk to the world. It's like there would never be a moment that you wouldn't hear his phone not ringing and he would not answer it. That phone ring, and most people let it ring maybe 3 times. That first ring, he's answering it. And then
the last couple months?
No, normally.
Okay.
The last couple of months, he'll look at the phone will ring and he'll just look at it and be like, I'll talk to them later. That's never came out of his mouth before. His conversations, he cut them quick now. Before, he'll have hour conversations, but he always found a way to fit everybody in on his phone. Like his TV, he always watched TV. Like from my mom, my sisters, any of us, we would watch shows that would cuss, whatever. And he would like, that's not my dad, he'll frown against it and say, change that. The last couple of months, if he heard a cuss word, he'll be sitting right there and like, like that, like, he didn't really care about what, like it was a different, he would tell you, like the minute he heard it say, bleep, you not knowing what the curse word is, but just from him hearing a bleep, this is what you guys are watching, turn it now, change that channel now. But the last couple of months, he would be interested in what you wanted to do, and that was never him. He never took interest in your TV shows, or it was always just sports he wanted to watch, or just news or politics. But he wanted to watch TV shows. He was like my sister and my mom, and my son, we would always watch Jeopardy together and compete with the questions. And the last couple of months, he participated in that. My son does the We Just Dance. And every now and again, my sister and myself would do it with him. And my mom used to do it before, like, her knee problem and all that stuff. And you would never catch my dad doing something like that. I don't know I don't know what my aunt sent you, but, like, we have video with my dad I want to say maybe he passed March, so February, he did that with my son, dancing with him and laughing, and like he wanted more family time. Before, like, all our life family time was everybody else family with us. It was never us with him, but he wanted more family time. Like, when are you gonna bring my granddaughter over? When are you gonna do, like, come out your room, like, because I've always been in my room. Kerianne, come out your room and come watch the football game with me. Like the last, and he never was like that before. Like, he just wanted more involvement. Okay.
All right. So he was definitely more loving.
More attentive. Yeah. Because he's always just been a worker. And he still was working. But, I mean, that's always been his thing, But, yeah.
Okay. So, when we talk about Dad's change in behavior, did you ever hear him complaining about anything?
Just that he didn't feel good. He would always say, I don't feel good, but I gotta go to work, I don't feel right. I don't feel good. That's, pretty much his complaints.
But would he articulate what? Would he articulate why he didn't feel good?
I
mean, in other words, you can tell me you don't feel good. Well, why, Kerianne? Well, I got a headache. Yeah. Or my shoulder hurts. Or
he he vocal about his heart and the sleep. And he'll say, I don't know why I'm not getting a lot of sleep. He will say, financially, he would say a lot on his mind. He just not able to clear his head, but is mainly vocal about sleeping and his heart.
What would he say his heart was doing?
He had concern about like his heart. I I think he was getting like reports from like when he'd go to the doctor or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he had concerns about that, especially leading up to him getting the pacemaker. And then he always had, what was it? Like he wasn't, was he not retaining fluids, or was he not? No, he wasn't releasing fluids. He was retaining them, but he wasn't releasing them. Because I know he was going to the hospital, not really a lot, but they had to, like when he did go, they always admitted him and said that he had like dehydration problems or something like that. But it was that he wasn't releasing fluids.
Okay. Any other strange behavior? Any other behavior you think I should know about?
He was clingy. He was not taking the phone calls alone is, that's concerning because that's never been him. It's like you would more so be like, you would be talking to him and say, "Well, can you please put your phone down?" And like he wouldn't even take a phone call his last couple of months. Being clingy. Always saying he just not feeling himself.
Now, go ahead.
No, I'm just trying to think.
Okay.
You go ahead.
Outside. You and Christine, Mom, have not hesitated to say you guys do not like the outside. But Dad used to sit in the garage.
Uh-huh.
Would he do that after hours? Or only during the daytime?
What do you consider after hours?
Dark.
No. Because he closed the garage. I'm trying to remember the timing. I think he would come in, especially before 8 o'clock, unless like people came, like if he had visitors or something. Mm-hmm. So I don't recall him being at night. Mm-hmm. Yeah, unless he did it when I was sleeping.
Okay.
Yeah. Because when I sleep, I don't hear nothing.
Anything else that you can think of where Dad's concerned?
I don't know.
Was there anybody that hated Dad? Anybody just not like your father?
I couldn't tell you. Like, he was straightforward with everybody. Like, if he had an issue, he told you his piece, and if you didn't like it, he was like, oh, well. Like, he didn't, he didn't sugarcoat nothing. He was who he is. Like, that's one thing about him. You have to appreciate him for his who he was. He didn't hide around the bush. He wasn't fake to you. If he didn't like you, he told you straight up. I don't remember him having any altercations with any neighbors, but then again, I couldn't tell you anything about any neighbors. I was always an inside person, but if he had any issues with anybody, they would have, that's them keeping it to themselves. I couldn't mm-hmm. tell you. I don't know anything about him and his church life because I didn't go to the church. I couldn't tell you,
How did he like that?
That I didn't go to the church?
Yeah.
But, I went to church, so, he was okay with it. But me not going to his church, he didn't say anything. Because as long as I still went to church,
Okay.
Because even that, like, I went to church online, so I just watched TV, and even that, his last couple of times, he watched it with us on TV, and he would talk crap about what they, this ain't no real church, But that's what I'm saying, like, that's who he was.
Straightforward.
Right, he didn't sugarcoat nothing.
Okay.
But, he wouldn't have normally done that either. But he did it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So as far as we know, Dad had no enemies. He wasn't horrifically scared of water because he got in the pool with you kids, but he could also stand, but he also was scared of water. He didn't care for it.
Right.
Let's see here. Let's just go down my little list. Okay. Have you ever known your dad to sleepwalk?
If I known him to sleepwalk, no.
And you heard him prowling.
But he was awake.
But he was awake because you'd hear him. How would you know he was awake? Give me an example.
Because he would be getting stuff out the fridge.
Okay.
I mean, he was awake. As far as yeah, he was awake. He would be getting stuff out the fridge. He would be getting his... he had a routine where he would prepare his stuff for work the next day. So he would be putting his drinks in the freezer for... which he did the night that he went missing. My mom showed us when we came to the house. The following day, she showed us, like, look, he intended to go to work. His stuff is still in the freezer. So, I mean, he had...
You're talking about Tuesday night? Because it was Tuesday night into Wednesday morning Dad went missing? Yeah. No, Wednesday night into Thursday morning.
So, yeah.
Wednesday night, he got everything ready, his lunch, his drinks, whatever it was.
So, not necessarily lunch, just his drinks. So, he put drinks in the freezer as well as the water is the ice. Like, he used that as the ice pack.
Right, until it melts and then you drink it.
Right. So, he put all that stuff in the freezer. And so, I didn't know, obviously, my mom showed us that he did that night. But that was his routine that he did all the time. And so, you would hear him doing that. And also, I would hear him by the cooler. And he also lined up drinks in front of his cooler, too. So, I mean, you could hear him and you hear the cupboard. So, I mean,
And this is when you would hear him prowling around and
you hear him changing the channel on the TV. So, I mean, as far as I know, no sleeping person does that. But, I mean, I couldn't tell you.
But it wasn't anything for him to prowl around in the middle of the night.
Right.
That was especially the last couple months.
Yeah.
Now, before these last couple months, though, would he was just the last one to go to bed, you'd watch the lights go out, and you wouldn't hear from him again? Or...
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, like, he would tell me, because he's a stickler on bills and, money was tight, Kerianne, turn off your light. So, I mean, like, I know he would be awake, too, because he would tell me, turn off your light, because, I mean...
But before these last couple of weird months, when he couldn't sleep and everything else, when he would turn off the lights and go to bed, do you remember hearing him get up then, or was it only in these last couple months that you really heard him prowling?
Only in these last couple of months would I hear him prowling. He would go to bed normally around 12, 11 o'clock.
Right, when he was down in the living room.
Right.
He'd go to bed, but then you don't remember hearing him get back up.
Correct.
Okay. So when you started hearing him get up, did you ever go out and go, Dad, what are you doing?
When I heard him coughing a lot, I would come out and give him some of my, not necessarily medication, like you have like cough syrup and stuff like that. I would give him that, and I'd be like, because it'll be horrendous sometimes. I'd be like, man, here, take this, please. And then he'll be on the phone with one of his friends. There's a guy who's a truck driver friend for him, and he'll be like, man, you wouldn't believe what Kerianne just did. She just, I guess I'm coughing too loud, or something like that.
Well, when was this? Last couple months or before that? I mean, was it the change of behavior, or was it before normal Dad?
Probably normal Dad.
Okay.
Because the last couple of months, when I would hear him outside, sometimes I would go out and he would just tell me I'm not getting no sleep. And then I would just tell him, just lay down and go to sleep. Right. Turn off the TV and you'll go to sleep. And then he'll say, I tried that. And then I was like, well, stop thinking about whatever you're thinking about and just go to sleep. And then, we'll talk, like, the following morning when I'm going to school, taking my kid to school. And he'd be like, I ain't getting no sleep. I say, yeah, I know, I heard you. And then he would be like, I can't get no rest. And I say, but that's because you're doing that to yourself. Stop thinking about some stuff. And then he'll be like, I know, so why you can't fall asleep? Like, he'll hit me back with that. And I say, but I got sleep apnea. Or, and he'll be like, so then go to sleep. Like, he'll hit me back with what I thought,
Right.
But, I know he told me he had issues with sleeping, so I don't go out there every night, to say something. And a lot of times you just kind of give him his space so that he can go to sleep. Because if he saw you, he will talk to you.
Right.
And you want him to go to sleep.
Right.
So.
Well, I wondered if when it first started happening, you were like, "That's weird. Why didn't he?"
No, because sometimes too I would go out there and sneak and get me a snack or whatever too. So I didn't really think it was weird. Plus, my mom would tell me that my mom first was the one who told me he had issues with sleeping, and then he started being more boisterous about it. Talking. So I didn't really kind of say.
So you think that's when you tuned into it, or?
I tuned into it when he started being more like attention towards me or more wanted to spend time with me, that's when I tuned into it more. And
when do you think this all started? I mean, was it we say we keep talking about the last couple months, which would be January and February before he passed. But I mean, do you remember him being like this at Christmas? And I use Christmas because it's such a big holiday. People usually remember what's going on around Christmas. I mean, do you remember him being this way before Christmas or around Christmas?
So Christmas, but then again, well, he spent more time with us because he wasn't on the phone much for Christmas. So but I didn't think nothing of it.
Right.
But he was, now that mention it, then yes, because he wasn't on the phone much for Christmas.
So that could have been the start of it, maybe? Right around that time? Not necessarily that the holiday triggered it. I'm just saying that you remember him being more with the family at Christmas, so he wasn't on the phone that much.
Because usually he'll be out on the road and then come, or he'll be on the phone and just laying in the couch, watching TV, watching whatever. And
but
then
this
when
Christmas
it comes time
was...
yeah, because he wasn't really on the phone now that you mention it. Yeah, because even like last Christmas, he complained about how many gifts, that we got my kid, or, we're spending too much money, we should be saving our money, and we didn't get that complaint this Christmas. So now that you mention it, yeah, because that's his thing. You guys spend your money on too much foolishness, and we didn't even get that, not once. So, should have paid attention to that, yeah.
Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I use Christmas, because Christmas is its tradition.
Right.
It's what we do every year.
Yeah.
And that's why Christmas is an easy landmark.
Yeah.
Because now you're saying that you always had to hear something about how much money was spent or how many gifts.
Mention that, yeah.
And this year there was nothing. So
because last Christmas we heard about that money spending for months, and we didn't even hear about it not once. Yeah.
So somewhere in December something changed. So the behavior changed, and then you start hearing the complaints about not feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else about his behavior? Anything else that just struck you as odd?
Because just him wanting to spend time and be more involved. That's the main thing. And then the phone. Those two were like the main things.
Okay.
Like he would just lay in bed, like, and be with my mom. Like he's more so independent, and these last few months he was more like a dependent, like a baby, He was worried about my mom with the surgery, worried about how is he going to do this, how is he going to do that. He kept telling me moving was the wrong time. But I couldn't figure out what was the wrong time, other than because
he never articulated why it was the wrong time. He just said it.
He told me it's the wrong time because my mom needed to get surgery. And
okay.
And he wanted me to be able to help out.
Right.
And I said, I'm not moving to Haiti. So how can I not help out?
Yeah.
But he kept saying it's the wrong time. It's the wrong time. So that kept playing in my head like.
I think it's different. You had your kids in the house. He didn't have to worry about whether or not you'd be home to help out. You lived there. So now all of a sudden it's, can you come over? Can you come over? Mm-hmm. So, maybe that was just the big thing, that you weren't going to be right here. So, All right. All right, Sunshine. I am good. Let's see here. It is 2:20, and I'm finishing my interview with Kerianne Berry.